Give in to the dark side. Just like he did. Unless, of course, he ate too much dark meat from that turkey yesterday. Speaking of which, where those leftovers get to? Hello, everybody. Sparkster1701 here. And I'm glad many of you have joined us after the holidays. Hopefully not too many of you are stuck on the couch, unable to move from all the turkey yesterday. But as we get ready to roll into the holiday season, we're going to take a look at a rather interesting figure that was put out a few years ago. This is Rodimus Unicronus. He was put out in the Power of the Primes line as an evolution figure, since basically he's got Nemesis Hot Rod in here as well as part of the toy. The evolution bit was a gimmick done at the end of the Power of the Primes line, since it was a cheap gimmick to sell two figures at one time. They did Optimus Prime, so you'd also get his before form of Orion Pax. Then they easily repainted it black and sold it as Nemesis Prime. They did Rodimus Prime, and of course, a little repaint, and you have Rodimus Unicronus. The only one that didn't get that was Optimal Optimus, who is basically the evolved form of Optimus Primal from the Beast Wars era. I was promised that by somebody a long time ago, along with a special upgrade for it, but that didn't fall through. Shows what I get for trusting some people. But at any rate, this figure somewhat appeared in the Power of the Primes cartoon segment that was done for the Prime Wars by Machinima, but they more kept it as the Nemesis Hot Rod, but they also called him Rodimus Kron instead. This one here is based more on how the character appeared in the Shattered Glass comic book series. The Shattered Glass series, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, is a mirror universe Transformers story where it makes the Autobots the villains and the Decepticons the heroes. It's kind of like the mirror universe story that has been done in several of the Star Trek series. The only change that they did was they gave Rodimus here a mustache and goatee-like appearance on his face. I guess that was to help make him look even more evil or something. I don't know. It's a classic trope that's been done to death. But at any rate, we got other things to show off. Like, for starters, let's start with his accessories. We'll start with his included matrix. This basically gives you a nice replica of the rings around the matrix, because the matrix core itself is removable. And it could be replaced by the other Prime figures that were available at that time, because they could fold up and you could stick them in here. And it would give Rodimus Unicronus different powers. What powers he would get would be listed on the various trading cards that were given out with the figures at the time. It's next to impossible to have gotten a complete set of those because of the fact that everybody came with only one and there were 12 Prime figures out there. However, there is a chart on the Transformers Wikia page that lists all the different abilities that Rodimus Unicronus and all the others that were available in that line, and what sort of powers they would gain from the different Prime Masters that they would have plugged into them. Now, many of Rodimus Unicronus' powers, I won't list all of them, because spoilers, but there were some where he would be able to be permanently linked to the Autobot Matrix and would be able to constantly track down its owner, be given time travel abilities so that he could enter time and space to seek out other holders of the Matrix and destroy them, to even probably the most scariest one, for him to destroy Unicron and take his place. Alright, next, one thing we should show you is that he could store the Matrix inside of him. You basically have to pop this section free. You just raise it up here, and as you can see, we got a nice empty cavity in there, and the Matrix fits right in. But we don't want that in there when we go to transform him. So we'll just pluck that out and have that out of the way. And then, of course, the other accessory he has is his photon eliminator gun. And, of course, this time around, his gun can separate into two pieces. So he can dual wield it, since the instructions here do show that he is dual wielding the gun. But they intend more for Nemesis Hot Rod to dual wield the guns, and when he's in his combined form, when he's in this evolved form, he just holds them as one and has a really big gun. Oh well, whatever floats your boat. Also, another accessory that we'll mention, you'll see it get removed here in a few moments, is the lower sections of his arms. He pulls out from right about here, and that's how you transform him, as you will remove the arms. But unlike in normal cases where it would come off at the shoulder, it comes down right here, just beneath the shoulder but above the elbow. Alright, before we do that, let's take a look at his articulation, and he has quite a bit for a toy his size. The head can be turned from side to side. Unfortunately, it doesn't go much further. And unfortunately, it is not on a ball joint, so it won't look up and down. You can raise his arm up at the shoulder so far. But you can rotate the arm at the shoulder all the way around. You can bend his arm at the elbow 90 degrees, and he does have a swivel at the bicep, so he could have G.I. Joe battle grip. Let me show that off with his gun in a moment. His legs can spread apart about so far. He does have a relatively decent thigh cut. He unfortunately does not twist at the hips, unfortunately, so Rodimus here isn't going to go to the dance party. You can raise his leg up at the hip 90 degrees, and you can bend his leg at the knee 90 degrees. So all in all, relatively good articulation. Modern figures having beat a few ways, but this isn't bad. Now let's see here. Let's see, can we get him to... Unfortunately, no. Too much of his chest plate is going to get in the way for him to hold his rifle two-handed. Okay, to transform Rodimus Unicronus, he has to be separated into three components. The first of the components are his arms. The second of the components is the chest and head area. And then the third is everything else. Alright, we will start off. To get him ready, we start by removing his arms. I'll let you have a good look at the arms here, now loose. One just fell on the floor. Be nice if Larry would get down there and get it, but dino penguins are only of so much use. Then next, to remove the second portion, we do like we did to get the matrix. You pop the chest piece off and you fold it up to the top over his head. And then you will simply remove it like so. Thankfully, it only landed on the table. And then you have this third section, which is just the remainder of the body. Now, to start on some of the transforming, we'll start with the central body, since this will eventually become Nemesis Hot Rod. But in order to do that, we gotta first put it in the car mode. So to do that, we take it in this form here, and we are going to stretch the legs out so that we got the back wheels up. And then you'll turn them at the knees so that we get the back wheels down on the ground. Just like that. And then we bring them around. If he'd quit falling apart here on me. Bring them around here to the back. Yeah, they do not connect together. But basically you would fold down this section here, and it has a couple of tabs, and those would connect in the grooves before his feet. Got the one in. There we go, got the other one in. Then, of course, once that's done, we start folding down the arms. And then fold them up to the side. Like so. Unfortunately, this popped out again. There we go. That gives us a black version of Hot Rod, which looks pretty good. Crank the camera down a bit. That doesn't look bad, per se. I don't really care for the gap in it, because I do think the gap looks a little ridiculous. Now, this is more just to prep him to be inside the trailer. Because this section in here pops free, and then it extends towards the back. And that'll help complete the look of the car. And that's a little better. So it does look pretty good. I like this. I like this color. It's got a sleek, futuristic vibe to it, you know? Now, to turn it into the robot, come back here and we fold the pipes back in, like we had earlier. Raise up the tail section, but then rotate the windscreen as well. And then you fold the tail section down. Then we will stand him up. We open up these covers here so that we can fold out his feet. And we close the covers up. We come up here to the sides. Pop the wheel off. Thankfully, it just pops right back in. I just rotate the arms a bit so that the arms will come free. Like that. And then we basically bring down this section here for his chest. Raise up the car bumper area a bit so that it can be rotated and placed back in. And then we close it back up. Pop that wheel again. And then there we have it. Nemesis Hot Rod. Then of course we will remove his guns. And there we go. Now we've got him armed and ready for a battle. Now, of course, before we get him ready to go be in the trailer, be with the RV mode or whatever, we should show off Nemesis Hot Rod's articulation. Even though it's almost the same. I mean, the head turns from side to side. Turns a little better, actually. His arms can be raised up about so far. They rotate at the shoulder all the way around. You will have to watch for the fin on his back. You can bend his arm at the elbow 90 degrees. And he does have a swivel at the bicep, so he has G.I. Joe battle grip too. He, unfortunately, due to his design, does not have a twisting waist. So no dance moves for him either. You can spread his legs into a full splits relatively easily. Rodimus here does not have a thigh cut. He has a knee cut. You can raise his leg at the hip less than 90 degrees. And Nemesis Hot Rod can bend his leg at the knee almost as much. So, in actuality, a lot of his articulation is hampered. But again, it's more for the design so that he can be fitted into the larger body. Okay, we got Nemesis Hot Rod back into his car form. But again, we got the pipes shrunk up here, as we had earlier, since that's how he'll fit into the trailer. So now we'll just set him aside. And then we bring out the body. So to get the body converted, we come around here. We'll take these protrusions here on his back. We'll raise them out to the side. And once we've done that, we can come up here where the silver fin is, and we want to rotate it so it points outwards, like that. Now, of course, once that's done, we'll come down here to his legs and press his legs together so that it helps keep the vehicle mode together. And we'll come down here to his hip shield. You raise the hip shield up like so. Then we're going to take the upper body and you will bend it at the hips so that it points like this. Like he's taking a bow. And then next, we're eventually going to be separating sections here. If something's supposed to shift out some more. Let me double check things here. Alright, what it is this whole section with all the open platforms and the fin folds outwards towards the back. And then you can bring these side panels forward and connect them together like so. So then now once that's done, we can come down here and you'll bend the legs up. There are posts at the bottom of the trailer which will connect into the legs. And then you will fold up the gray portions of his feet. And that gets the trailer most of the way set up. But not entirely. We still got one thing to do. And that involves the arms. Now on the arms, on both of them, they have these little panels here on the forearms. They need folded up so they will cover the fists. And then they each have a post and a hole on them, and they need to be connected together. They don't fit super snug, but they are together. And then basically, they get inserted into the top of the trailer to complete the look. Just like that. And then down here underneath it, you'll see on the silver wing there is a little post protruding from it. Well, that connects into the hole on Hot Rod's roof. So you just line them up and plug him in. Trying your best to keep him somewhat straight. Alright, once he's in all the way, we come down here to where his arms were. You'll fold those, at least bend them at the elbow a bit so that they're down out of the way. Come back here to the side of the trailer, and you'll be able to fold out some fenders onto the sides here. Just like that. Kind of watch that the legs don't pop free on you. Once those are in place, you'll come up here to the top and you can rotate the pipes so they come down. Then once that's done, you'll bring the arms back up to help complete the look. And then, of course, to complete the look, you can have the gun in its separate pieces and mount it to the back of the trailer. And there you have it. Rodimus Unicronus in his alternate mode, which it looks fair, to say the least. I mean, it is rather long, but then again, at least looks a lot better than the original Generation 1 Autobot version. But the only thing I'm not too thrilled with is the fact that the feet are obviously sticking out the back. But now we get to my thoughts about it. What do I think of it? Well, again, at the time of its release, it was another cheap toy, since Hasbro was already putting out one of Rodimus Prime. It was an easy way to just recolor it and add a little different paint, and you had another character. Now, usually I would criticize it, but we don't get very many characters done like this. So I'll cut some slack on them from my usual rant about the Hasbro cheapness. Because this is still a rather interesting little toy. I like how the design came out, except for how the vehicle mode looks here with the feet sticking out. Trust me, it looks just as bad, if not worse, on Rodimus Prime. But on this figure, I do like how it turned out. We got a special version of a character that's only been seen in certain media. As the most that has been seen in was in the Shattered Glass comic and the Power of the Primes segment of the Prime Wars cartoon. But we never saw it exactly the way it came out. So, it is something that's a little bit different. And for fans of either one, this is a treat for you. I was kind of hoping that when Hasbro did the Commander Class Rodimus Prime in the Kingdom line, that we would probably get an updated version of this toy. Since it's almost the same thing that they did for making the Kingdom version of Rodimus Prime. It does have a Hot Rod figure as well. And the added trailer. So, why didn't they do one of those? Maybe hopefully they'll take it into consideration, since so far for next year's Legacy, we don't have a Commander Class figure. And if they would put it up to a vote, I certainly would like to nominate Rodimus Unicronus to get a modern version. At any rate, that's my review of Rodimus Unicronus from the Power of the Primes line. I hope you all enjoyed it. And please do remember that if you like the content we see here on this channel, please do like, share, comment, and subscribe. Now, next month, it is the festive season, coming with December, and we're going to take a look at a different series of figures. There's a new wave of Studio Class series figures covering characters from the War for Cybertron video games. We have all 5, and we have 5 Fridays in December to cover. So, this is Sparkster1701 saying I'll catch you all later. Now, if you excuse me, Larry and I are going looking for that leftover turkey.